In this video, we'll talk about the 13 things you should not do before going to bed. Before we begin, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the Psychology Pub YouTube channel. You may also want to check out the description for a special offer we have. We all have our bedtime rituals. For women in particular, it's a beauty regimen to help care for their skin as they sleep. Some do breathing exercises and meditation to help them doze off into dreamland a lot easier. However, there are bad habits that a lot of people do that are hindering them from getting a good night's sleep. Some of these practices are perceived to be a helpful sleep aid, but research says it's actually the exact opposite. So, here are the 13 things you should not do before going to bed. If you're guilty of any of them, you may want to start taking them out of your system for good. Number 1. Exposing yourself to blue light. If there's one thing that today's technology has brought out in us, it is having an unhealthy relationship with our smart devices. Many people have their phones by their bedsides, and it's often the last thing they let go of before going to bed and the first thing they touch upon waking up. What a lot of you out there probably don't know is that the blue light emitted by your phone screens can disrupt your sleep routine. According to research, it hinders your brain from releasing melatonin, the hormone that readies your body for sleep. Instead, the blue light tricks your brain into thinking that you're still in daytime mode, and that makes it harder for you to fall asleep. Experts will advise keeping yourself away from blue light exposure at least an hour before bed. That means stowing your phones further away from an arm's reach. He'll also urge you to get out of bed upon the sound of your alarm. Number 2. Consuming nicotine. Cigarette lovers know how satisfying it is to have that final stick of the day. If you had a tiring time at work, all your stresses seem to melt away along with every drag and puff. But did you know that nicotine can also disrupt your sleep? That's because it contains the chemical acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter that wakes your senses up. Its presence in your body is also at its peak during the day while you're awake. So, if you're planning to have that last smoke for the day, do it several hours before hitting the sack. Make the most out of your cigarette breaks during the day while your brain is at its optimal function rate. And if you're using a 24/7 nicotine patch, ask your doctor about any possible alternatives aside from keeping it on before bedtime. Number 3. Engaging in a deep conversation. Deep conversations are always interesting to have. It takes your mind to places you don't always go to, and it opens your eyes to brand new perspectives. But there is a time and a place for those conversations to happen, and it's definitely not before going to bed. Research says these stimulating conversations cause a rise in stress levels and adrenaline. And you really don't want these hormones at their peak if you want to prepare yourself for sleep. Now, these deep conversations aren't just about philosophizing about the meaning of life. It could also be trying to resolve conflict with a significant other. So if you feel like the discussion is going nowhere, politely say you'll talk in the morning instead. Save yourself from the added stress you could have avoided in the first place. Number 4. Going to bed earlier than your usual time. Now, you might ask, isn't going to bed earlier helpful for you? After all, Ben Franklin did say that early to bed and early to rise, right? There's definitely nothing wrong about going to bed earlier. You'll especially need to do this if you also need to be up earlier the next day. It becomes problematic when you go back to your later bedtime the next night. That's how you throw off your circadian rhythm, your body's internal process of regulating your sleep-wake-up cycle. It can also disrupt your sleep patterns in the long run. Your best solution is to keep a consistent bedtime every night, including the weekends. So, if you started heading to bed at 10 p.m. tonight, try your best to keep it up for as long as you can. You'll thank yourself later on once you get used to it. Number 5. Keeping your sheets unwashed for too long. Nothing is more satisfying than fresh and clean bed sheets. It gives that warm, fuzzy feeling that helps make for a deeper, much more peaceful slumber. On the other hand, sleeping on sheets that haven't been washed for a while could bring the opposite effect. You're practically lying on a pile of dust mites and some of your dead skin, which isn't exactly an appealing thought to have. And if you're prone to have a reaction to such allergens, don't expect to have a good night's sleep. You'd instead might want to prepare yourself to be scratching all night. Ideally, you'd want to change your sheets after a maximum of 2 weeks. It may be a tedious task for some to complete, but if you need to encourage yourself, think of sleeping on clean sheets as a small, luxurious experience to look forward to. Number 6. Having a nightcap. Many of us have a wrong notion of a nightcap. Many people think that the final drink for the night can better help us prepare to hit the sack. After all, having a glass of wine can help you doze off, right? Not exactly. Yes, alcohol can help you fall asleep faster. However, it doesn't do that good of a job in keeping you asleep. Studies suggest during the metabolic process of alcohol as the night progresses, your body becomes more restless. That results in poor quality sleep. Other studies also suggest that having a drink before bed hinders REM sleep, the period of slumber that stimulates learning and memory. And according to some experts, it may also lead to disturbing dreams. Science says it takes about an hour for the body to completely metabolize alcohol. That should give you a clue on the time you'll allow yourself to have that final drink. Number 7. Working out. There's obviously nothing wrong about exercising. It is, in fact, highly encouraged by experts from all health and fitness fields. But like having a deep philosophical conversation, there is an appropriate time and place. Doing it before bed is not one of them. Yes, certain workouts, especially high-intensity ones, will make you tired and drain you of your energy. That's because the rise in your body temperature will make it more difficult for you to feel relaxed and ready for bed. If you need to exercise at night, experts recommend doing it about 4 hours before going to bed. If you don't have that luxury of time, you can go as far as doing some yoga or light stretching. But any workout that will boost your heart rate and cause you to break a sweat is not a good idea. Number 8. Doing any kind of work. Here's the scenario. You've just come out of a hot shower and you're preparing yourself to hit the sack. Your phone suddenly beeps. It's an email from your boss about some last-minute reminders for tomorrow morning's meeting. You scour your inbox to find the slides you did and send it to her. Pretty harmless, right? Not quite. Now, you've put yourself in work mode and you've caused a rise in cortisol level, aka stress hormones. Now, it's a bit more difficult to bring yourself back to going to bed. For the sake of work-life balance and your mental health, disconnect from anything related to your job by the time you get home. If you work from home, do this after you've done your tasks for the day. That last hour before bed should be about winding down and relaxing. Save the work stuff for tomorrow morning. Number 9. Drinking too much water. You probably missed out on hydrating early on in the day. As a natural reaction, your body will be craving for the amount of water you should have drank hours earlier. It's alright to drink up to 1 glass of water at night, but try not to go beyond that. There's a good chance for your sleep to be interrupted by not just 1, but possibly 2 or 3 bathroom trips in the middle of the night. If you keep this habit, you could see yourself doing this every night, which could very well compromise your sleep quality in the long run. Experts recommend having that glass of water at least a couple of hours before you head to bed. You'll be parched, yes, but that first glass upon waking up will be the most refreshing feeling you get as you start your day. Number 10. Failing to do a temperature check. Yes, there is an ideal temperature to enable a good night's sleep. According to sleep experts, your room should be between 60 to 65 degrees Fahrenheit, or 15 to 20 degrees Celsius. Going below or beyond these temperature ranges may cause you to be uncomfortable and restless in the middle of the night. Nobody wants that. As a default, you'd want to be on the cooler side of things because warmer temperatures could cause a sweaty, unpleasant situation. If you don't have an air conditioning unit, you can turn on a fan or open your windows to let a cool breeze in. Should the temperature be too cold for your liking, that's nothing a soft blanket or comforter can't fix. Temperature-regulating pillows and sheets will also work just fine. Number 11. Caffeinating yourself. This is an obvious one, but worth mentioning nonetheless. Caffeine works well during the day to give you that jolt of alertness, but that may also lead to episodes of tossing and turning in bed if you consume it a little too late during the day. Coffee and tea are obviously no-nos as you head into your bedtime hours, but do take note that beverages like soda, energy drinks, and hot chocolate also contain caffeine, so you might want to steer clear of them as well. According to doctors, caffeine's half-life, or the amount of time a substance decreases by half, is between 6 to 8 hours. So, if your nightly bedtime is at 11, your last cup of coffee should be around 3 p.m. to be on the safest side. Now, if you're still craving for that coffee taste in your mouth, go for a decaf option. Number 12. Going to bed with an empty stomach. Heading to bed after a full meal is definitely not a good idea. However, doing the exact opposite isn't recommended either. Experts say going to bed hungry may cause a dip in your blood sugar, which causes a production of insulin. That process could stimulate your senses and interrupt your sleep. If you're the type of person to either eat light or skip dinner altogether, experts suggest having a teaspoon of honey before going to bed. This should help keep your blood sugar levels stable as you sleep. Number 13. Eating fatty food. Now, if you're the midnight snacking type, you'd want to avoid anything too fatty. Snacking on the leftover fries will cause your stomach to do extra digestion work. That'll leave you in a not-so-comfortable state as you head to bed, and you'll likely be up and about for the next few hours. If you really can't help yourself, some good examples of before-bed snacks would be a handful of pistachios or fruits like kiwi or goji berries. They also won't make you feel as guilty. What other things should we avoid doing before bed? We'd love to know what you think through the comments section below. Thanks for watching. Again, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Be sure to check out the links in the description box for our affiliate links to recommended products.